Welcome to Talk the Walk. I'm Sarah Wong. As the fifth COVID wave sweeps through Hong Kong, underprivileged groups are bearing the brunt of the impact. While the government has urged residents to stay home, the homeless are outliners facing higher risks of infection. To address this problem, a homegrown biotech firm is lending a hand by donating 100,000 COVID tests to the homeless community in Sham Shui Po. Let's bring in Dennis Ho, founder of ACC Plus, to discuss the warm-hearted initiative. Thank you so much, Dennis, for joining us. Good to have you on the program.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell us more about the initiative?
The initiative is to help the poor people in the Sham Shui Po, and they are in underprivileged group, and that's why we connect with the Society of Community Organization to help us to distribute the RAT kit, and they they need the RAT kit very immediately. That's why we choose to connect with them.
Is it a hard challenge to overcome? Is the preparation work a lot to bring 100,000 testing kits to the homeless people in Sham Shui Po? And why do you choose the Sham Shui Po?
Yeah, as you can see in the news before, Sham Shui Po is quite serious in the COVID, and the area got a lot of cases, new cases. And for the logistic part, to send 100,000 RAT kit is quite difficult. As you may know, the logistic from mainland to Hong Kong got some buff due to the cross-border trucker COVID case, and then we need to sort it out immediately, and we need to handle it at once. So once we get the RAT into our warehouse, we send it directly to them. And just for your information, for the Hong Kong logistic part, it's not an issue. But when go to them, the RAT kit, they need to distribute it is quite another issue. According to them, the information come back from them. They said due to the rain 2 days ago, they need to separately to distribute the kit one by one to the homeless people, and also to the grassroots people in different areas. So it is quite human related. They don't have enough volunteers, so that's why the distribution is quite complicated in this process.
I see, and indeed, I saw on the Facebook post 2 weeks ago, your company told customers that you are running low on stocks on the rapid testing kits that you are now generously giving away. I wonder, what sacrifice do you need to make for the initiative to happen?
To sacrifice the profit between selling and also donation, I just take some portion from the RAT kits we transport from the mainland to the homeless people, to the organization. And that's why we think this situation is quite urgent for any parts of the community, no matter is the one who can afford the RAT kit, or even for the people in some circles who cannot get it themselves, or even they have the money but they don't wish to buy it themselves. So we just take a balance on the kits we have, and we put a portion and keep sending to the organization we work with.
Understand that the testing kits you're distributing is called Deep Blue, and it's employed a technology developed by Oxford University in Britain. I was just curious, is that result using the technology from Britain recognized in Hong Kong and public institutions here?
As the Deep Blue brand is quite famous in Europe, and also they in the Oxford, they just have some testing on it, and the sensitivity and the accuracy is relatively high compared with other brands. So the efficiency is quite convincing, and due to this moment, some government departments have already ordered from us So we have passed the logistic department, and so I also they are in the EU list, the blue bread.
I see. So I wonder, is the test coming from Europe or you procure it from other destinations that is manufacturing the test in maybe other parts of the world, such as mainland?
Uh, we get it from mainland directly from the factory, and just they focus selling on Europe before. When the pandemics come to Hong Kong, the fifth wave comes, they start to notice there is some high demand in Hong Kong, and we connect with them and get the supply from them. The product is promising, just what you told, like they are in tested by Oxford, and so the product is not from Europe, it's from mainland.
Now, let's talk more about the homeless community and your initiative to distribute the testing kits to them. We know that the impact of COVID came especially hard on underprivileged groups, including the homeless community. Now, your company also sells masks and other anti-epidemic products as well. Why do you think that rapid testing kits are something that the homeless urgently needed right now?
I think for the mask, the supply is very constant, and people get some donation all around the city. Not just us, they can get it easily from the chain store, or also some other parties they can get it. So, but for the RAT kits, not just for the homeless people, even people who can afford it cannot easily buy in the market. So that's why we think why we choose to donate RAT kits instead of the mask or other anti-pandemic products. This is the reason. And the kit can first notify who get the COVID, the Omicron one or the other one, to let the government or maybe the society know the real situation. For the homeless people in Central Pole, or maybe the people who live nearby the COVID area, they sometimes won't test themselves. So I think the other kid, if they get it, they will just maybe to use it and get some result. If there is some early stage, we can figure it out. There is some exposure with it. This will be great for the society to work on it.
Let's say that a homeless person who received the test kit from you guys and he or she used it and tested positive. It's very unlikely for him or she to confirm the test results by taking a PCR test by the government because he or she doesn't have a home address, a residential address, and thus he's not subject to a mandatory testing order by the government. So in another way, I just don't understand how would you follow up after distributing the testing kits to the homeless community here?
This is a good question, and I think not just homeless people, just the same. People, even though they use it at home, they find out that they are positive or not, they might have any reaction to the RT case result. But for this time, we work with Society of Community Organization, and when they distribute the RT case, they also test with them. So if the results is positive, they will have some follow-up action to take them to a hospital, and the NGO will follow the case. So for us, we are just able to bring the products, to bring the RT case to the organization, and the rest following will be done by them.
But do you have the manpower to keep in touch with the homeless people in Sam Sham Shui Po? It's a big district and there's a lot of people that you need to keep eye on. Do you have the manpower when you're grappling with logistical challenges in your warehouse?
For sending the case to them is quite challenging. I mean for the homeless people one by one.
Right.
And that's why there is just 6 to 7 people in the group to distribute the kits. That's why the distribution speed and the volume cannot be so high for the homeless people, for the poor people. And so we are trying to work with more volunteers and asking for some help in other channel to make sure we got enough volunteers. And we also need to do some protection before we distribute it. And the protection is not that serious compared with the government with full equipment. We just have the face shield and also some uh, KF94 mask. So this is just what we trying to lower the risk of getting COVID by when we distribute it.
All right, we'll talk more about your company and your initiative after the break. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.